to Horror Hour.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Get you. Here's Johnny.
Hello and welcome to the Horror Hour, the show where we discuss, debate, and disagree on all things horror. Today you have myself, Liam. We also have Steve.
Hello.
How exciting. And today we are going to be discussing our spoiler thoughts on Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. You call it different, so is it season 1, isn't it?
In America it's
Yeah.
seasons. I know in the UK it's series.
Yeah.
Which
So,
makes more sense. I feel like we
Yeah.
should be calling them. I don't know. Season, I don't know where I think that came from. I think that because the US likes to pump a lot of episodes into their TV shows and the UK does not. And the US does seasons literally fall and spring.
That would make sense.
And we a lot of our main, especially the network channels, like our basic cable channels, a lot of that's centered around like, okay, here's what's on from September to December, and here's what's on from February to May. So that, I think that's where the difference comes from.
Well, there we go. So, education.
Yeah,
So yes, so it is season 1 of Pretty Little Lies Original Sin. What we thought about overall, what we thought about reveals, the spoiler thoughts we have on individual characters. So I think judging by where we went off on in our non-spoiler review, I think we should straight away start with Miss Bailey Madison and her characterization of Imogen Adams. So, Steve, what are your spoiler thoughts on Bailey Madison's
standout
character?
I think for me it's a toss-up between Imogen and Tabby for my favorite.
Yeah.
I think Bailey Madison really nailed it in the performance for this character. In the beginning, I think those first couple of episodes, I think you're always just like trying to, feel the characters out, like, they're fresh. And then by the end, I mean, that finale, that final episode, I mean, appropriately titled Final Girls, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
The horror references through it. It's in the DNA of the show. She killed it as a final girl. What did you think about that chase sequence? I feel like we've been missing chase sequences.
God, it was so good. Like, again, yeah, people, spoilers. We've subtitled it enough, but spoilers. The fact that she was going into labor and running for her life, and I get it, the acting. I believed her. I thought she was in pain. I thought she was in a rush. I was just this is amazing. And then like obviously like hiding in the house and stuff like that. And I was just
yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole chase.
Yeah.
Whole chase.
And you know what I appreciated too? The flashback to her mom. She's like, what do I do if I go into labor? She's like, just breathe. And I think it really helped kind of tie into that relationship with the mom, right?
Yeah.
When she's like, okay, yeah, I know she was shitty in high school, but this is kind of who she became and grew, and this is who she was to me. I thought that was it was so well done. It was so
I
good.
know. Just everything about this character throughout the story. I think obviously she is the arc of the story, because the thing that sets it into motion is her losing her mother while she's pregnant, and obviously the just guttering effect that has on her. So watching it's Bailey Madison that makes you believe that she is devastated, but she is strong, and she is able to carry on. And it's just amazing what this young girl was able to do with this character. So like I just want more. I just want more because I just want to follow Imogen's story. And I know that like it's unfair because I have just spoke a lot about her. We are going to go into the other girls, which I didn't really do in our non-spoiler review. But okay, I'm like you. Imogen was the number one for me, but Tabby was a very close second. So and I think because of how linked their stories were,
Yeah.
it worked as well to have her as a close second.
Mhm.
So that was
Yeah,
good.
to kind of speak to your point, I mean, we can kind of transition a little bit over to Tabby a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, it's revealed that they share an abuser,
Yes.
who is revealed to be Chip at this point. Um, how did you feel about that that reveal, and how they got to that point?
I thought it was very well done because it wasn't um a lot of these teen shows, things like this can be sensationalized.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it didn't come across that way. It was you felt the emotion, you felt how gutting it was for the girls. And as the show's going on, you find out obviously you see Tabby doing things and you're like, why is she doing this? And
Hmm.
then you slowly start to click and you're like, oh, wait there. Did something happen to her?
Yeah.
And then they're just outright like, yes, this happened. And it's like, oh. And then obviously, and then you go back in your head and you're like, but wait there. They've never mentioned anything about who's the father for Imogen's baby.
Yeah.
And then you start to like connect the dots there and you're like, wait there. Is this going to be? And then obviously it is connected and you're just like, oh. And I will say, this is one of the ones that I did click onto. This is one of the twists that I did click onto. Because I was like, that ship is far too nice to Tabby,
Yeah.
considering he's not getting anything back from her, even though he's clearly trying his hardest. And Yutaka had watched ahead of us. So Yutaka messaged me early on and went, right, I would like, these are the things that I want to know. And I was like, right. I was like, well, I don't think it's Chip or Wes. I went, however, but I do think Chip has something else. And then like I watched the next episode and I went, right, Chip is the rapist, and the baby daddy, which obviously ended up being correct. So I think they planted the seeds very well with that character because he was so nice, and he was like only one of the he was one of the only ones that was like real nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
um,
I liked how some of the stuff was hidden in the dialogue. I mean, like, kind of on the nose now, but the whole conversation at the theater about Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave, like the rape revenge movies,
yeah,
and how he and Wes kind of it goes back to her story, right? I mean, the whole female gaze versus the male gaze, rewriting Psycho, which I really appreciated how they showed the two girls, how they responded and coped differently with their
yes,
rape. Like you knew that it was eating away at Tabby from the get go. Like just something, with her recording in the locker room, and through the Psycho short film
yeah,
throughout, and then Imogen, clearly was burying it deep, until Tabitha came out about it. So I just appreciate those kind of two different perspectives.
yeah. No, I appreciate that as well. Um, I don't think there was anything else that I really like stood out. I think the actress that played Tabby, Chandler Kinney,
Mhm.
amazing. I think across the board, all of the girls were fantastic at acting throughout this. So I mean, kudos to all of them. Um, I don't think there was anything else that really stood out with Tabby's storyline.
No, just as
Um,
far as her
apart
character,
from
though,
just
right?
yeah, like character wise, she was such a good friend, even though she was going through all of this bad thing stuff herself. Um, and it just really made you gravitate towards that character.
Mhm.
So I don't.
And very clearly
Yeah.
the Randy Kirby Mindy of the series, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
know, like, you know, which I think is like, as horror fans, you know, that's why I mean, especially why I kind of gravitated to her a lot more so. And I don't think it was done in a way that's like, haha, yeah, she's the Randy Kirby Mindy, you know. I think it was done pretty
it was just
organically.
natural.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because she wasn't
yeah,
just like spewing out rules of horror. She was just a fan of film and just knew her shit,
yeah.
you know?
Which some people are. Um, we are a channel dedicated to it. Uh,
Right, right.
uh, so next, who I would say had the next like, would you say I would say next biggest story points?
Hmm.
I'll go with that word. And Farron,
Oh,
the
yeah.
yeah. So and you have obviously like the A storyline, which is obviously the who's A, and then you had Imogen and Tabby connected with the B storyline of their assault. And then each of the other three girls had their own mini B storyline. So I thought the biggest one out of them was Farron's because it was closely obviously connected to Kelly and Karen Beasley, which was another thing that we'll discuss soon. So what did you think of Farron and Farron's overall
Yeah.
story?
I think that, again, in those first few episodes, just trying to figure out like where they're going with it. Like, is this going to be just like a Black Swan kind of nod that they're doing with the ballet? Um, which in ways there are nods to it, of course.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're doing Swan Lake. But I appreciated, and I well, the MVP moments, the big moments for me for Farron were her bio, uh, you know, revealing how her mom forced her into
Yes.
surgery at 8 years old that she did not need. I thought that was wild. And her standing up to Sheriff Beasley, protecting Kelly. I thought
Yep.
those, I mean, they may not have been the biggest moments of the season, but for that character and just seeing that growth, I thought I forgot this actress's name, she killed it. Killed it.
It was where it just says Zara on IMDb.
Zara.
Zara.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she killed it. I mean, were there other moments for Farron that stood out? I mean, those were the two big character
um
moments for me.
they were the two big character moments. I did enjoy it going down a bit of a mental break. Um thinking she was like Nancy Drew
Yeah.
with Karen with Karen and Kelly. I enjoyed that because I thought it was like, even though it was done in a serious way, it was quite funny.
Hmm.
Um, so I enjoyed that. But yeah, the two standout moments were the bio, which was just so well, and you knew she was going to do something, but you didn't think it was that. So I was like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
she got her mother good, good. Um, yeah, and then the bit where she stood up to Sheriff Beasley, I was just sitting there like, yeah, get him, get him.
Get the son of a bitch.
So yeah, I would agree. They were the standout moments. So next, I would say Noah had
Hmm.
the next biggest B storyline after that. With you finding out that she was covering for her mother's drug addiction,
Hmm.
making everyone think that she was the drug addict. Um, again, that was very well played by I believe it's Mia Rafiko.
I should have the IMDb.
Maya Rafiko. I have it open, but I'm a basic white man, so names are not my strong suit. So
Let's see. No. Oh, Maya Rafiko.
oh, so I did say it right.
Yeah, Maya Rafiko.
Yay! Look at me. I'm growing as a person. Um yeah, so apart from her B storyline, she didn't really have much to do.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't
She
my
was
favorite of the
just one of
storylines, I will say.
it wasn't mine either. But I really didn't like the next one, so that's why I've left it last.
Oh, I love the next one because how weird
oh,
it. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
um, yeah, like I get it. You want to be nice, you want to protect your mom's job, but Jesus Christ, like that's going to be on your permanent record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you not understand that? Like, your mom's an adult, she's had her chances. Like, don't ruin your future to protect like a really old woman.
As a kid, I don't think you
I'm saying
realize
really old
that.
woman. Probably not that much older than me. Um,
What
like,
graduated in the 90s, 99? When did you graduate high school?
oh yeah, like she's much. Oh, 99.
99. I was so 10 years. Well, I
Oh,
was 09. So she's the moms would be.
oh, yous graduate older than me though. So we graduate at 16.
You
We leave
graduated at
school at
16.
16.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2006.
Oh, you graduated 06 high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait, but your high school's different than US high school.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would have graduated if it was the same. I would have graduated in 2008. Oh, that means I'm only 8 years older than them. 9 years older than them. Oh, this just
Yeah.
makes things really depressing.
Well, it happens when you watch a Gen Z show and you realize teens now. You're like, oh wow, yeah.
I watch TikTok. I expect to people to think I'm young. So yeah, Noah. She's well played. Again, another one well played. Doesn't have much to do.
Mhm.
Doesn't have much to do in the main storyline. Doesn't really have much like.
Other than
It's all right.
the chase scene she had was good. When she had
Yes,
that was good.
Yes,
When she had
that was an
roofs.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot about that. That was really good. What were your thoughts on Noah?
Like I said, not my favorite storyline, but realistic in the sense that, a kid's not gonna realize that they're ruining their life for a really stupid reason if they're protecting their
Point.
parent. Because if they feel like, if they protect their parent, they're protecting themselves because the parent is supposed to be at the head of the house and their parent is their safety.
Yeah.
So like I've seen shit like this as a social worker. So like it happens. I think it's the most probably like realistic of the storylines.
Wow.
Probably.
I didn't say that coming.
Because I think it's pretty realistic. I mean, the parent gets caught with drugs, older kid steps up and says, "Oh no, let me, save my family." It happens actually. Obviously, when I say realistic, I mean it probably happens most often than like, oh, I was gonna say this. The serial rapist it happens, but statistically, all within the same high school, the same time, and all linking to that. I don't know, but
yeah,
I appreciated it. For that.
Okay, so since it's not really that, I think that's a bit with that. So next we have Mouse, played by Mila Piles. I didn't really understand what was going on with her B storyline at first.
It's weird.
And then
a weird one.
And then when it did play out, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross and weird but also kind of sweet at the same time? Question mark.
The end of that storyline, I will admit, did make us go, oh, you know what? It was coming from a good place.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I was just getting, oh.
It is creepy. Like especially when he's like, where am I missing at that point, missing daughter's clothes? Like, it's freaking weird. But clearly he's not coping well, right, with his missing daughter.
No.
And I think we're expecting it to be weird in terms of like, is he a pedophile? Like what is this? But really it's just kind of coming from like both of them having a hard time coping with what was happening in their lives, like him with the missing daughter and her with the possible abduction, but ended up not being an abduction when she was little. Right?
Like,
right? When the
Oh,
carnival situation, yeah.
you just remind no, I remembered that part, but I forgot about the part where she went to see her dad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then
Oh,
her
that was
dad coming home.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, when he
So
just
again,
closed
sends
the
her right back to
door on
Steve.
her. And I know, I was just like, oh, don't do that. And then he
Yeah.
did.
Now I was confused. Was he the sperm a sperm donor? Was it that simple? I'm trying to remember.
So I think so he wasn't a sperm donor, he was with someone and they couldn't have children.
Mhm.
She couldn't have children, so they
Oh,
needed
that's
a
right.
surrogate. So her mother, off the books, become a surrogate for them,
But then took
but
her.
then decided she wanted to keep the baby, so just ran off with his baby.
Yep.
Um,
That's crazy. We need to explore
that's
that with Mouse's mom because that's
that is
wild.
tapped in the head shit.
Yeah.
Um, I think that did need a little bit more exploration. I would
Mhm.
have enjoyed less time with the other mouse storyline and more with that. Because I think it would have helped you understand Mouse's situation more,
Mhm.
because you would have understood more why the mother was so clingy and protective.
Yeah.
Um, we got a little bit of it and it was fine.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't
yeah.
completely dropped, like which I will say. I know I talked a little bit about the original show on the non-spoiler
Mhm.
review. This show does a lot better at not dropping storylines. The original, as campy and fun as it is, they had like 20 something episodes for 7 years, every year they had 20 something episodes. Things would come and go, and then some things would just get dropped. And you're like, okay, I guess that's not a thing anymore. So I
I
appreciate
never
that this
liked
was
that.
like a 10 episode series, like even if not every storyline was focused on all the time, it at least had a beginning, middle, end.
And that's all we need.
That's all we need. And I do appreciate that so much.
Okay then. So the next part I think we should discuss would be Kelly and Karen Beasley. Or should we say the Beasley family? We'll go with the
Beasleys.
Beasley family because that does link into their father as well, who's a giant bastard. Um,
Mm. Which a lot of
so
feelings about him.
yeah.
A lot of feelings about the
Um,
situation.
yeah. So it is these are twins. They are played by one actress, Mallory Bechtel. Um, how what are your thoughts on Mallory's portrayal of these two twins?
I thought she did a good. I mean, I think as far as the performances go, especially with Karen, it is probably the more campy of the performances
Yes.
of being. Oh, I don't have a phrase. We will have to edit this out. So we'll just go until we start it.
Yeah.
So I think her performance of the twins is probably the campier of the two, but especially with Karen, it's kind of like that cliche bully. But I appreciated she did such a good job at differentiating the two, and how they acted, even the little just like mannerisms,
Yeah.
as well as, but also creating a confusion, right? Because when Farron's investigating and thinking that Kelly is Karen and Kelly actually died and Karen's alive, she kind of made, but then how did you feel about that sex scene where she's like, call me Karen towards the end? I mean, does she want to be Karen? Is there like a thing there? Like,
I
Karen?
don't think it's a thing. I think my understanding of it was she was very damaged
Mhm.
because she was brought up to be told you are less than Karen, you will never be as good as Karen. Karen is the better twin. She was then ridiculously close with Karen. Karen is then ripped away from her. So she kind of, in her upset state,
Mhm.
believes that she is going to be taking over from Karen and then gets a little warped in that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like
That's how I seen it.
it's like she's taking in some kind of power from
Yes.
right. It's
Yes.
like almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street 4 situation, right? Alice,
Sure. Yeah.
Alice loses her friends, takes a little bit of their personality. I think Kelly's kind of like, she tried to live up to Karen so much because of her parents' expectations. She went through
And now
it.
she's going to become them, Karen.
Now she's gonna take in some of those characteristics that maybe she was missing.
Being a twin must be weird.
I wouldn't know. But the
I
movies
wouldn't
would
know.
make us believe it is. So
I mean, look at
twins more
Yutaka. He's an
common than
awful twin.
twins
His
require
sister
either
must have
Kelly or
been
a
the
Kelly.
Carrie. Yutaka's a Kelly.
Is Yutaka a twin?
Yeah,
Oh, wait. Did I know that? I'll have
I
to-
don't know.
I don't know if I know
It's
that.
been discussed.
I might. New dad, baby brain. I forget things very so, but I appreciate her performance as both Kelly and Karen.
Yeah.
I liked how she kind of officially became a part of the group by the end of the season.
Yeah, I really appreciated the end where she was like, yeah, no, I'm coming to help. And she just like jumped right in there and then like got to the school and tried to help. And again, it was another thing of, it was another part of this, how good this show was. It was a natural progression to get her to that point.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, she's the meek person, she's now the bitch, oh, now she's helping. There was peaks, valleys, layers all the way throughout. And it was obvious how she ended up at that point by the end of the show. So I really appreciated that. And again, it was all down to Mallory Bechtel and the way that she portrayed both twins. So I mean, kudos to her for playing both of them and giving them such different personalities, even though they were basically the same person.
Right. Which brings us to, speaking of that evolution of the character for Kelly, I mean, both her and her mom having to overcome the father, which was leading to an awesome Christmas murder.
The sheriff nuns.
The sheriff knows. So, well, I guess it wasn't a murder. I called it the Christmas stabbing. But I enjoyed that scene very well, very much so.
Oh, when she was, like I cheered for that mother. I was like sitting on my bed, like, yeah.
Just the mom with the bloody knife.
Get him.
The sheriff's body over the table, and then just Kelly with the Christmas tree behind her. I thought it was so well shot, camp, but like it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And it was so. It wasn't a disappointing death. Because like you really wanted him to get like proper comeuppance for how he'd acted throughout the show.
Yeah.
So
well, how did you
I was appreciative.
Yeah. I mean, how did you feel about the sheriff as a whole, especially being that we are a queer channel? How are we reading the closeted sheriff unleashing hell on everyone he knows? Is it because I mean, I don't know. Is there a problematic nature to that? I don't know. That's what I was kind of wondering.
No, because there is like that is just something like that is just something that happens. There is so many closeted, like there's so many married straight men that are hooking up in car parks with random guys, hooking up in toilets, like cottaging galore. You know what I mean?
Open up Grindr, and that's probably 50% of the accounts on there, right?
Let's not even overreact. 75%. So no, I don't see that as problematic. Like who's not seen an older closeted man get a blowy from a teenager in a car. That is just what happens. That is the world of Grindr.
See it every day.
Like
I walk outside and there.
nonsense everywhere. So no, I didn't see it as problematic.
Okay. Nah, I was just curious. I wasn't sure if we were entering sleepaway camp territory.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no.
No, okay. All right, but
that
because they handle...
is a huge step away.
No, I know, because they do handle the other queer characters very well on this show.
Yes, they do.
Right, Mouse's mom, Mouse's trans boyfriend, like,
yeah.
I think the queer characters.
Everyone else has done well.
Exactly.
So I don't see that as I don't see it as problematic. I see it as just this is something that is something that happens in life.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I agree with you. I just kind of wanted to put that out there if we were going to discuss Sheriff Beasley, because it's such a key part of that character.
Yeah. He's a twat who rapes people and gets off with boys.
And abuses his family. Like, really, like, just
exactly. Like, he just abuses everyone. He's not it's not problematic for the gays because it's to everyone.
Everyone. But which I don't know. I mean, there's a stabbing in the house, and then kind of that second ending in the hospital, which we'll get to later.
Oh my god, yes.
So we'll get back to we'll get to the hospital post scene after we talk about the A reveal.
Yeah. So now that we have discussed the girls and the Beasleys, let's discuss the mums. Or the moms. Moms.
Mothers, if you will.
Mothers. Mother has arrived. No, me personally have knowing I knew 3 of the moms going in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very happy. Because obviously Sharon Leal is from Dreamgirls.
Mm-hmm.
I love Dreamgirls. Lea Solange is the voice of Jasmine. I love Aladdin. She's also, as I said, the singing voice of Mulan. And then oh god, I forgot her name from Popular. What's her name? Davy. She was Davy.
Oh, Carly Pope.
Carly Pope. I love Carly Pope because I love Popular because I'm old and I remember it.
Well, I know her.
So
in Arrow, I think.
Was she?
Yeah, she was. I forgot who the hell she played. Did she date him? I think she dated him, like Stephen Amell, on the show.
The more you know.
I'm remembering correctly. I mean, people can correct me, but
I didn't realize she was on Arrow.
Not
good for her.
Long.
Oh, she was Susan Williams. She was in 10 episodes.
I think they were kind of antagonistic to begin with, and then I think they tried dating. It's been a while.
I can't remember. Arrow is a complete mind blank to me. Even though I enjoyed it at the time. So yes. So moms, not really much to do. They're just there to obviously create the storyline. But I still appreciate them, like the way you knew they had secrets, but they were like, and you could clearly tell they were lying. I appreciate that.
Right.
Because I love a sneaky older bitch. So I liked it. But apart from that, there wasn't really much to them.
That's kind of the DNA
what do you
of the
think?
Franchise too. Like the moms in the original, they were there, but they really were supporting characters, even if they were somewhat tangentially involved in the plot. I mean, here they were pretty central to the mystery.
Yeah.
But they just weren't. They weren't actively figuring anything out because they were actively hiding things. Right. So they were kind of the things to investigate as opposed to the people doing the investigating. So I think that's kind of where
Yeah.
that feeling you're having about them is coming from, maybe.
Who knows? But yeah, they were all right. They were good. I enjoyed them. I liked them being there, especially Sharon Leal, because I just love her. So it is that time. We must discuss
The A reveal.
the A reveal. So firstly, because we've already discussed for me, myself and Yutaka in the non-spoiler review, if we guessed A. So Steve, did you guess A?
No.
Did you guess any part of that storyline though?
I guessed that. Okay, so if you go back to our non-spoiler review, I think you hear me say, I think it's either during the recording I say it, or it was either just us chit-chatting on the side. I don't remember. But I did say that the killer was just a side part. Like A and the killer were different. Because I figured there was someone doing the dirty work, and then there was A
Mhm.
pulling the strings. Because A pulling strings was a very common story point in the original.
Yeah.
There's always big A and little A at some point.
Yes, I remember you saying, yeah, explained the triangle of A's.
Yes.
Yes.
So I
Right,
like
so
that
that makes
A
sense.
had his kind of I don't his bitch, like
Yeah,
his attack dog,
sure. So I like, yeah, okay. So for me, so I early on was like, I feel like there's gonna turn out to be like a sibling of this Angela, and A is gonna be the sibling. Then as it started getting further on, I was like, there isn't really a character that could be a sibling that we've been introduced to that could be a sibling. I was like, so this isn't really making much sense. So I was like, well, is it one of the moms who's just went a bit psycho? And then I was like, no, it's not that. That would be ridiculous. And then on episode 7, when the principal banned Tabby's video, I just messaged Yutaka now and it is the principal, isn't it? It's got to have something to do with the principal because he's had basically no dealings with the girls, and then all of a sudden he's now starting to have dealings with them. As like, and so that's why I said in the non-spoiler review I wasn't happy with the way that they set up A's reveal, because I don't. Yes, A was there all along, but A wasn't really ever involved, if that makes sense, until right near the end.
Well,
and I think a good mystery needs involvement throughout the story. It needs seeds planted from the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
And unless they were like really, really small seeds, like minute seeds that I just didn't pick up on, which, hold me hands up, there might have been, and I might just not be as good at picking up these things as I think I am. Like, I just didn't feel like there was enough seed planting. I only realized it because of the change in story arc for that character towards the very, very end. And I was like, they're changing his story. Okay, he's here. Like, it wasn't an actual story mystery. It was a sudden switch in the story, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
that was the reason why I was like, well, that would be my one little nitpick.
It's hard to, because when you look at who the principal is, it's hard to make red herrings. Because you have to because if it's a show where it could be anyone, you have to equally spread out the red herrings, right?
Yeah.
So with him, what I will say is during his kind of like villain monologue at the end, when he said he was going to pin it on the sheriff,
Yeah.
it made sense to me because if you go back early on when the sheriff was going hard on the girls about Karen's death, when the sheriff was going kind of hard on them, you know, the principal kind of was just like letting him go. And
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I mean, the principal is which is weird. I think a good principal normally would have stepped in and been like, all right, we need to kind of, this is a school, these are students, let's reel it back. He kind of
Now you see, that might
but
I might not be been picking up on that, because the schools I went to, the principals also would have just stood back and let the police do something like that, and probably is worse. So
I mean,
the experience that I have with them people, I'm just like, well, that is a normal thing for them to do.
yeah, I mean, it feels weird only because there wasn't an obvious crime. I mean, meaning that if it truly was an accident, like he was there as a father, really,
Yeah.
not so much as a sheriff, right?
Yeah,
So he's
point.
kind of, you know, blurring those two lines there, right? So the principal was just kind of like letting him go off the rails, mainly so that there was evidence to say, like, look how crazy this person was. Like, clearly it was him who was doing all this, you know? So it's there, you know, I'm sure there was other little things that, you know, when you watch 10 hours of a series, you know, obviously you're not going to remember every single scene, but
I'm going to have to rewatch it on.
But you know what? It's one of those shows.
It'll be good,
but
but
you could easily rewatch this series.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
It does have good rewatchability. I imagine there's a lot of stuff that you would, if you went back and rewatched it, there's a lot of stuff that you would pick up knowing the outcome. So,
oh yeah,
if you like that kind of thing.
Now, who do we think A 2.0 is? Is that just the twin again?
But they showed the twin out of bed.
He was ill. He did get out of bed.
Yeah, they showed him get out of bed. They didn't show him kill the sheriff though, did they?
So, Chip.
Oh, they just showed the sheriff dead, didn't they?
The sheriff is dead, and Chip opened the door and then got attacked.
Yes. No, it wasn't Chip, because Chip's the bad one.
I thought Chip
was it Sean?
Because Chip, remember Chip is out on bail.
Uh-huh.
So he would be home.
Uh-huh.
So
I thought it was the girl's house that opened the door. I thought it was someone at the girl's house. I thought the twin had turned up to the girl's house and it was one of the boyfriends that answered the door.
I'm literally gonna I can literally pull up the screener and just look real fast because it's not on HBO Max yet, so I'm gonna have to open the screener. I'm pretty sure that was Chip, because his whole thing is more like, what's interesting about the killer is that he is morally focused, right?
Yes.
Like morally motivated.
Yes, because I did appreciate it when he turned up to obviously get the girls, but then they were like, no, he did to us what Sheriff Beasley did to your sister.
I like that.
Well, to Angela, as they put it, because obviously they didn't know sister at the time. And then he just instantly like stopped what he was there to do, right, and just went and was like, I'm gonna get him then. I did like that scene. There was another one that I forgot. There was just so many good scenes that it's like all. Some of them are a bit hazy, shall we say?
Yeah. So as you're going, I'm looking at
I know.
Sheriff's dad. And the girls are chit chat. Isn't that Chip? Hold on. Why would he kill? Hold on. Sheriff's dead. I can edit around this. Yeah, no, that's Chip.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. You know, he's gonna go kill the two rapists at the end.
Okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense then.
So if I'm curious though, right? It was that.
Okay.
Is the twin done? Like, or are we gonna? is there going to be more another A? And like, what would you want to see? I guess my question is, what would you want to see in a season 2?
I really don't know because I really enjoyed it, and I do want to see more of the characters, but I don't know where they could take it because, like, I don't think they've given the twin enough so that the twin could just be a killer on his own. So unless there's like another family member, like a grandma's going to show up and be like, "They killed my son. They killed my son. You get them fuckers." I don't know. I want more. I don't know where I would find it from. How about you?
Right, because there really isn't much of a cliffhanger, right? Other than him killing the two, which is it's almost like a very final ending, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, this killer's still out on the loose, but like also,
but he's killed everyone he needed to.
Kind of killed, right? He kind of did the job he needed to do, unless he's still gonna target the moms, I guess, because the moms are still guilty of like bullying Angela. So I guess like there's still that. So are we just gonna have a slasher series? Which wouldn't be very Pretty Little Liars, because then you got to think of like the franchise, right? Like, you know,
it takes the franchise from Pretty Little Liars to Scream,
to slasher, right? So whatever, you know, some other horror series, right? So like there has to be some element of somebody knowing more than the characters and threatening them with that information.
Yes.
That's the blackmail is the DNA of the show.
And we all love blackmail.
You all love a good blackmail. And I don't know, like it's weird because and also something that didn't really exist in this series as in the original is that in the original, all of the liars had a secret. That's why they were called Pretty Little Liars. I mean, not all of them really had secrets per se of their own, right? So
I mean, they did all have a secret that they hadn't told people.
But a bad secret, like something that they had done, like something that they were guilty of.
Oh, okay. No, this was all things that like other people were guilty of.
Right. So like Imogen and Tabby, their assault is not their fault, right? So that really wouldn't be something that they're guilty of. Mouse's secret, she was helping some sad older guy who like lost his daughter. So like that's not like a bad thing.
You know, Taryn had the mother.
Right. So like I mean in the original, I'm trying to think of all their secrets, but like like there was a character in the closet in the original. So like she felt guilty about being in the closet. That was one thing. That's something that you could kind of blackmail about. Then you had a character dating her teacher. Which we didn't talk about the Easter eggs. Speaking of Ari dating her teacher, did you? I mean, I know you didn't watch the original, so
I did not.
The couple that adopted Imogen's baby is from the original. Ari and Ezra Books. So Ari was Lucy Hale, who was in the Scream 4 opening. Lucy Hale.
I know who Lucy. Yeah.
Dated her teacher Ezra. And I guess now all these years later, they're together. They own a bookstore. He's a writer, and they adopted Imogen's baby. And they said they left it open and said that they would be open to an open adoption. So we might get Lucy Hale's return in season 2, which could be really interesting.
Okay, well that explains that then.
Which is huge
because I felt like that was some sort of reveal, but then I was like.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I want to see in season 2, right? Lucy Hale come back.
Yeah, let's bring in Lucy Hale and all her secrets.
All her secrets.
She can provide a new way that's going to get everyone. Yeah, let's do that. I don't mind Lucy Hale. She was very good in Ragdoll, which if anyone watching would like to go and find out our thoughts on Ragdoll, we do have a spoiler review dotted around here. And even though Truth or Dare was fucking god awful, she was still canny in it. So there's
Mhm.
that. Yeah, let's bring in Lucy Hale. Fuck her.
Yeah, I think she's always
Yeah.
good. She's not always in the best stuff, right? I know you brought up Truth or Dare, but wasn't she also in Fantasy Island?
Oh god. Oh.
So she's not always in the best stuff, but she herself is good.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So I feel like that's our overall final spoiler thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done it. Well done, us. So if you enjoyed this, please thank you for sticking around. I know we talk. So if you would like to watch any more of our videos, please do subscribe so that you can find out anything that is going to be coming up. Go back through our catalog. We have lots of podcasts that we release on a weekly basis. We also have just started a Patreon, which will be linked in the description bio places. We are also on Twitter and Instagram, which is at the Horror Hour TV. We have merch, also links. So thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Horror Hour. See you next time.